Hi, Esther first graders. This is Miss Hardwick, your substitute. And I've been thinking a lot about you guys, especially right now with school being a little different than how we all started the year together. So I wanted to send you a little video of me reading one of the picture books that I wrote. And I had talked to you guys a little bit about that I wrote picture books, but I never shared one that I wrote with you guys. So I'm going to share it with you. And it was never actually a book. It was a digital app that you downloaded on your computers. And so what I'm going to show you, it will be digital, not in a book. Okay, just a minute. I'm going to grab this and then we'll start. So here it is. It's called Finders Keepers, written by Mindy Hardwick and illustrated by Stephanie Alessio. And she was an illustrator, and she and I never met, but she illustrated the story that I wrote. Jesse was excited to go to the beach with his family. Every fall, they attended a special weekend event in Lincoln City, Oregon called Finders Keepers. Each day, glass artists hid glass spheres called floats in the driftwood for fall and winter beach walkers to find. Hunting for glass floats was like a giant Easter egg hunt, except it happened when the leaves were turning red and yellow and the nights were getting colder. Jesse couldn't wait to find a glass float. On Friday afternoon, Jesse and his sister Amber helped Dad unpack the car. Afterward, they walked to the beach to look for glass floats. Jesse searched the long grasses. He looked under pieces of driftwood. He explored the shoreline. Soon, Jesse heard Amber say, "I found a glass float." His sister held up a blue and purple glass ball. She smiled. The glass sparkled in the sunshine. Jesse was a little nervous. What if all the glass floats were already found? Jesse kept searching, determined to find something. He walked very slowly along the shoreline, but no matter how hard Jesse looked, he couldn't find a glass float. That night, Jesse dreamed about glass floats. He held one in his hand and the sun sparkled through the glass. Jesse knew he would find one. The next morning, Dad found a glass float in the tall grasses. Jesse tried to feel happy for his dad, but he wanted to find a glass float too. All afternoon, Jesse searched the high grass and driftwood, but Jesse still didn't have any luck. "Don't worry," Dad told Jesse, "you'll find one too." But Jesse was anxious. That night, there was a big windstorm. The ocean waves crashed, rain lashed against the windows, and the wind howled. Jesse pulled the covers up tight. Beach storms were scary. Jesse dreamed all the glass floats were shattered and scattered on the beach. In the morning, Jesse ran down to the beach. The ocean looked like it was very angry. The water moved in large swells and white foam covered the beach. Jesse touched the white foam. It wiggled like a big moving monster. The wind blew pieces of foam down the beach like tumbleweed. "The waves can be dangerous," Dad warned Jesse. "Don't get too close." Jesse stayed far away from the waves. He walked near the tall grasses and picked up large broken shells. He turned over big pieces of driftwood that looked like eagle's wings. Jesse tucked all his treasures into his bag. Jesse's bag was very heavy. "I have room for one more shell," he thought. Jesse looked down at the sand. There was something there. It didn't look like a shell. Jesse peered closer. It was a green glass float caught in pieces of a torn fishing net. "It's a glass float." Jesse hardly dared to breathe the words. Carefully, he untangled the glass sphere from the fishing net. The float fit in the palm of Jesse's hand. He rubbed his fingers over the thick glass. Jesse carried the float carefully. He walked over to Dad and Amber. "It's a real glass float," Dad told Jesse. "Fishermen used to use glass floats to hold their nets in place. It must have washed in from the storm." When they got back to the cottage, Jesse placed his glass ball next to Amber and Dad's glass float. He'd found the best float of all. And then a little bit about the history of Finders Keepers. Japanese fishing crews used small blue and green glass spheres to help float their nets. The floats could be as small as 2 inches or as large as 2 feet. When people walked Oregon beaches, they often found these glass treasures, especially during winter storms when the glass balls washed ashore. However, fishing vessels no longer use the glass floats. Instead, they use a buoyant plastic. In 1999, Lincoln City, Oregon launched the Millennial Float Project. Tourists came to walk the beach and search for a signed and numbered glass float made by a local artist. The city continues to hold the annual event that runs from mid-October to Memorial Day. Handcrafted floats are placed along the 7.5 miles of public beach in Lincoln City. If you find a glass float, you keep it. And that is the end of the story. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and maybe we'll meet again. Bye.